Tonight, the Premier prepares to push the PM on support for Whyalla as the Steelworks sale decision looms. And a pair of Crows legends mix it with the locals behind the bar in Port Lincoln.
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening, but first tonight, a plan to turn the fly ash from Port Augusta's old coal-fired power station into concrete is still on the drawing board, with claims that science is questionable. Senator Nick Xenophon has repeatedly called on the state government to back the plan, but nothing has been done yet. Amelia Simpson has the details.
Earlier in the year, there were calls to reuse what the Alinta power station left behind, a proposal by the company New Rock to turn the fly ash from the coal-fired power station into concrete blocks. Yet in recent months, nothing has come of the proposal.
I believe that proposal is still with the state government in relation to turning the ash into a concrete-based product, and primarily bricks and pavers and road sealants, etc., which seem pretty good on the surface, a really, really good proposal from taking a bad to a good thing, really.
The science of using Port Augusta's fly ash has been questioned, with some MPs concerned the company New Rock hadn't put forward independent testing of the ash.
The advice I've got back is they are still going through the business case that has been presented in terms of all the testing of the fly ash, etc., etc. I imagine it's quite a rigorous process, but I believe that is part of what they're doing, and they are still pursuing and still engaging with New Rock Technologies to do that.
There is something seriously wrong with our state that something like this hasn't been embraced by the state government. Governments in the United States are falling over themselves to support New Rock, yet here in South Australia we seem to be dragging our feet.
While the state government is still discussing the fly ash proposal, it's business as usual for Flinders Power, who are continuing to apply the topsoil to the ash dam. If they receive state government approval, it would be business as usual for New Rock, as they say capping the ash dam with topsoil would be one of their first steps before mining the ash underneath.
Amelia Simpson reporting there. Premier Jay Weatherall says the Commonwealth must partner with the state government to support the Whyalla Steelworks. He's told Southern Cross News that the Commonwealth can't think its job is done yet, and he'll lobby the Prime Minister at this week's COAG meeting.
It's that time of year again, as Premiers and Chief Ministers meet the Prime Minister for the annual COAG Summit. Jay Weatherall has our region on his agenda, with the Premier to pressure the federal government for funding to upgrade Whyalla Steelworks.
Well, it'll have to be financial. We know that there's going to need to be a contribution by governments to ensure the reinvestment in the Whyalla Steelworks.
Already the state government has set aside $50 million for a new owner to use on upgrades. The Commonwealth, however, has focused on filling the order book, bringing forward the Tarcoola rail upgrade and convincing Adani to use Whyalla Steel for the Carmichael coal mine, which was today finally approved. Premier Weatherall says it isn't enough, and recent messages from Canberra about their support are concerning, claiming some believe the future submarine contract was enough for SA.
Because we've got the future submarine contract, that there are many people that believe that that was a sufficient contribution to South Australia's economic future.
But despite the frosty relationship that's developed between Canberra and Adelaide, the Premier is confident a partnership can be struck.
We believe there is a strong sentiment across the nation, not just in our state, but in every state and territory, for us to retain this capacity.
And while he wouldn't elaborate, he says the reported plans for Whyalla surrounding power generation at the steelworks are exciting.
Long-term energy security, which will be good not only for the steelworks, but for the whole of the South Australian network.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
A Port Lincoln teenager has been charged with assault after a large brawl erupted in a shopping centre car park. A group of teenagers gathered at a supermarket on Liverpool Street yesterday afternoon. A short time later, a large fight broke out as witnesses watched on. Police were soon called and a 16-year-old girl from Port Lincoln was arrested at the scene. She's been charged with assault and will appear in the Port Lincoln Youth Court next month. Grain farmers on the lower Eyre Peninsula are nervously awaiting rain. We could be heading into the driest June on record, with the long-range forecast showing little signs of relief. More farmers have been forced to start dry seeding than ever before, and the time is ticking until the effects could be catastrophic.
Time is becoming a critical factor for farmers on the Eyre Peninsula. Little rain so far this season and even less forecast this month means some have begun dry seeding in hopes the weather breaks.
We're all looking at the forecast, we're looking at the skies and hoping they're getting it wrong, but even the small showers that have been forecast to us are not developing. And when you look out to the west, we see 2 or 3 big highs linking up, which is not a good sign.
But it's looking bleak. The current long-range forecast is not predicting rain until the end of this month, leaving farmers worried like never before.
I don't know, it's something that I've never experienced in 50-odd years of farming.
Rain on the Eyre Peninsula has been well under the seasonal average, Cleve recording its lowest rainfall in 20 years. Farmers relying on newer dry seeding techniques to save the season.
I honestly haven't seen this much dry seeding being done because in previous years in the past we didn't have the machinery to be able to penetrate the soil where we have now.
The repercussions of little rain will be felt far and wide, the Port Lincoln Mayor offering his support to the industry.
If they have a downtime, the city has a downtime. So we're really on their side and thinking of them and hoping that the season will break soon.
After a bumper harvest last year, farmers remain confident it can still turn around.
I'm still positive. This is a very good area in Australia, so I've got faith in the area.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news, a brand new theatre group set to hit the stage with a new musical. A preview next. Welcome back. Port Augusta has been chosen to host a conference with over 300 attendees in September this year. The Australian Rangeland Society's 19th conference will attract delegates from around Australia who are set to stay in the region over 4 days.
An organisation connecting those who live on the land, the Australian Rangeland Society will launch its 19th conference in Port Augusta. In just a few months, Central Oval will host the crowd of up to 300 people.
And this conference provides the opportunity for people to come together and hear from the researchers and hear from the land managers and learn more about the innovation and land management that is occurring in the Australian rangelands.
Organisers say Port Augusta was an ideal location.
You know, it's the crossroads of Australia, so if you're trying to get to Darwin or into Central Australia or going across to WA, Port Augusta is the location. But it's also got the facilities. You know, Central Oval's a fantastic new facility for the area.
60% of delegates are expected to come from interstate, and the SANRM board says it's sponsoring 15 people from the rangelands to attend.
It'll be a great opportunity for networking, great opportunity for us to learn from other landholders and pastoralists who'll be coming up for the conference and share that information so that it can contribute back to the South Australian Arid Lands region.
And local businesses will not only have a chance to host the delegates in local accommodation but get involved.
So we will be having an event in the middle of the conference that'll encourage local stallholders, trade operators, caterers, crafts people to come along and participate in what we're calling the Rangelands Muster. And people will be able to come and provide their local wares, their local catering, showcase some of the great products from the region.
The conference will take place in September this year. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Some busy intersections in the south of Broken Hill are receiving some major improvements. Work is currently underway on 2 intersections on Comstock Street, meaning there'll be a few detours and hold-ups for local drivers. Patrick Runke reports from Broken Hill.
The 2 Comstock Street intersections on Eyre Street and Patton Street are currently being upgraded. They are backed by the New South Wales Government's Fixing Country Roads program at a total cost of $830,000. Work has been underway for some time, with the aim of repairing extensive damage and improving durability of the heavily trafficked junctions. The state government put up $700,000 in funding, with council contributing $130,000 for new stormwater drainage underneath the intersections. Council has been working closely with Roads and Maritime Services and identified the Eyre, Comstock and Patton Street route as a target for the upgrades. The street links regional New South Wales and Victoria and is a vital segment of the route utilised by freighters. A section of road on Blen Street is also under construction. The section linking Kaylin and Bromide is midway through resurfacing. Drivers are being told to either avoid the areas under construction or bear with the delays. Work is expected to be completed by mid-July, weather permitting.
Patrick Reinke with that report. The newly formed Magpie Warblers Theatre Company presents their first musical, Into the Woods, next weekend. Dress rehearsals are well underway and the theatre bugs are itching to get this show on the road. They're set to take it to Port Pirie and to Wallaroo.
Training 3 times a week since March, the Magpie Warblers are ready to hit the stage with their first ever production, Into the Woods.
As soon as somebody said they were thinking of doing Into the Woods, I just leapt at the chance.
With a few twists, this isn't your typical musical production.
It's really the way that it's different is what makes it interesting. So you don't have big dance moves or big chorus pieces, but the songs are just fascinating. They're really interesting in their rhythm and the melodies.
The play takes stories from the Brothers Grimm, intertwining characters including Red Riding Hood, Jack, Rapunzel and Cinderella.
The movie is basically the same but takes some things out. So the first half is basically the same, but then there's a few little extra surprises in Act 2.
With full dress rehearsals happening, actors are able to easily slip into their characters.
Oh, look, he's a bit of a bumbling character, a bit of a hopeless chap. It's just good fun playing someone who's a bit clueless.
The cast is connected and very passionate about the production, and that shows when they perform.
Just a lot of fun. Getting into the character and I guess getting the relationships with the rest of the cast.
The performance is in Wallaroo on the 16th and 17th of this month, and then in Port Pirie on the 23rd and 24th. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Oh, stay with us. When we return after the break, a pair of Crows legends mix it up with locals behind the bar in Port Lincoln. The details ahead. Welcome back. Broken Hill Police say more and more motorists are being caught drunk driving thanks to new testing equipment introduced in the region. There's been 22 positive tests around the area over the past month and police say that's far too many. Here's Patrick with this week's Police Talk.
More and more drug drivers are being caught on our roads.
At the moment in New South Wales, we're looking at 10% of random drug testings coming back with a positive, whereas 1% of alcohol tests coming back as positive.
Drivers seem to be getting the message about drink driving, but drug drivers are still a concern for police.
We want to remove impaired drivers from our roadways. It's a safety issue. Not only your safety, other road users, your family.
Any police car is now capable of testing drivers for drugs. A positive result on the road leads to further testing at the station, which could bring harsh penalties for offenders. A driver first detected with drugs in their system faces a $1,000 fine.
If it comes back and you're actually impaired, that can double. Disqualification periods initially for up to 12 months. And if you have a second or third offence, you may find yourself facing some jail time.
Superintendent Smith says it's not just about Broken Hill and New South Wales. South Australian police are also targeting drug drivers, and it's now more than likely you'll get caught.
If you're using prohibited drugs, the chances of getting detected on the roads in Barrier, New South Wales and our neighbouring South Australia right across the viewing area have just increased greatly.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Well, AFL legends Tony Modra and Darren Jarman were in Port Lincoln over the weekend as part of the Adelaide Crows regional cheer squad. The Stars spent time mixing with Crows fans at the Port Lincoln Hotel, even trying their hand at some bartending.
It's not every day you get to share a beer with Adelaide Football Club royalty, but for some lucky Crow supporters it was a dream come true on Friday night. Tony Modra and Darren Jarman spending the night at Sharkies, getting around the locals.
Great people here at the Lincoln Hotel, a few beers and have a bit of fun, and we've got a few with our supporter group here tonight, so just coming over to have a bit of fun.
The former Crow Stars were in town for a community event. The hotel all too happy to hand over Sharkies for the evening.
Yeah, no, it's good for the community. As you can see, they've filled the bar. Everyone's pretty excited to have a couple of legends like Modra and Jarman in town.
The boys watched on as the current squad took the field, including hometown hero Eddie Betts. But it was another Mallee Park player who Jars was looking forward to seeing.
One of our favourites is Stevie Johncock from here, and the great man, Steffi. And so, yeah, obviously having a few beers and having a good time.
Tony Modra has been rated the most exciting player to wear the blue, red and yellow. Even Premiership hero Darren Jarman giving his teammate high praise.
He's obviously a legend of the club and a legend of the AFL. Superstar for the Crows.
But Jars's most cherished moments is watching his son Ben follow in his footsteps.
I'd be very proud, Dad. Very proud. I'm proud of him now. He's playing for the SNFL Crows and doing really well. So I don't care what level he gets to, so long as he enjoys it, and which he's doing at the moment.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Oh, turning to local sport now, in Croatia sit top of the Wales Soccer League after a 2-1 win over reigning champions Steel United over the weekend. In what was a pretty entertaining match, they fought from 1-0 to secure the win and secure their status as the ladder leaders. John Hunt joins us now. And John, it was a bit of a big result.
Tim, there's still a long way to go in the league, but the weekend's match was an early 4-pointer in the race for the title. In a pulsating match, Croatia came from a goal down against the reigning league champions to record a vital win. Both teams were reduced to 10 men during the contest, with Croatia overcoming Steel to maintain pole position. In the other fixture, Lions got their first win of the league, with a 3-2 win over Wanderers on Saturday. Over the border in Broken Hill, St Joe's and West shared the points in a 1-1 draw, while Alma defeated Celtic 2-1. One match in the women's comp, with West having a comfortable win over St Joe's. Northern Demons are now topped by just goal difference in State League 2, after Fulham United defeated them 3-2 in a boil-over result. Adelaide's Eastern United are level on points with them, after a 2-1 win over Uni SA. Let's hit the courts now and focus on netball, and in Whyalla, the Warriors just keep on winning. In a rematch of last year's grand final, they were too good for YCW, winning by 11 goals. Kiwi got their second win of the season, with a 38-27 win over the winless Rapina. Over in Port Pirie, Central Risdon had a 4-goal win over Solis, while Blue Wren defeated Port 64-54. Up in Port Augusta, St Joe's had a comfortable win over the Magpies, while the Railways had a comprehensive 56-27 win over the Vikings. In Port Lincoln, Waybacks overcame Boston's in a tight one. Winilla moved 2 games clear of Boston's in third with a 59-24 victory against Imperials, and South were too good for last place St Mary's. Finally, in Northern Areas netball, Broad and Mundura secured a 6-goal win over BMW. Orroroo cemented top place with a 50-28 victory over Southern Flinders, and Jamestown Peterborough defeated Crystal Brook. So that's all the sport there is this week. Next weekend is a big one for local soccer, with Whyalla hosting the Juniors Country Championships. So good luck to all the teams in our region competing.
Absolutely, good stuff. Thank you, John Hunt there. Well, stay with us after the break. A look at how your local weather is panning out for the rest of the week. Welcome back. Well, we are into winter now, but we haven't seen any too colder conditions just yet. Still plenty of sunshine around the place during the day at least, and today was no exception. Quite mild with 18 degrees at the top in Port Augusta, Whyalla and Port Lincoln. Port Pirie today on 17, and Broken Hill a fine day today with a top of 15. Now looking at the national satellite map, fine skies continue to move across the region. That's mainly thanks to a high heading easterly. Out on the Gulf waters tomorrow, the winds to 15 knots and mainly to the east, the seas below metre and to the south for the most part. Sunrise tomorrow morning is at 18 minutes past 7. So looking like a fine and sunny day into Wednesday with 17 tomorrow's top in Port Augusta, the same for Whyalla, and Port Pirie expecting 16 degrees. 18 the top in Port Lincoln, while Broken Hill will be sunny with a top of 14 degrees. Then looking ahead at the remainder of the week, a fine 18 on the way in Port Lincoln for Thursday, the same on Friday, but just a little bit of cloud about the place, though sunny as we head into the weekend. Cleve 18 then 17 to wrap up the week, Woodner with 19 degrees both days and also sunny into Saturday. Whyalla with sunny skies all week, 17 both Thursday and Friday and into Saturday as well. Port Augusta on 18 for Thursday and then 17 on Friday. 17 also the top over the next couple of days in Kadina. A sunny 17 on Thursday in Port Pirie as well. A bit of a pattern here, in fact. Lots of 17s, the same on Friday and Saturday. Clare 15 both days. Broken Hill with a cool 15 on Thursday. and also on 14 degrees by Friday. And that is the Tuesday edition of Southern Cross News. Don't forget, as always, you can stay up to date with us on Facebook and on Twitter, and you can also drop us an email if you'd like to get in touch, and past bulletins can also be seen on our YouTube channel. We'll see you back here tomorrow night from 6:30. I'm Tim Hadfield from the team here at Southern Cross News. Have a good evening. Good night.